This is Nasir Galdar. Today we are going to talk about the Pakistan's flood fury in South Asia. So this presentation will give a briefing from mountain to the sea of the Indus river system uh, that flows from the Himalayas and Karakoram and Hindu Kush through the plains of Pakistan towards the Arabian Sea in the south. This network sustains the livelihood of about 222 million people in Pakistan, almost 200 people in India, and 50 million people in Afghanistan. Pakistan is a country with 220 million population. It is a less developed country, and what we believe that there has to be some kind of environmental justice with Pakistan's doomsday flooding. And then because this disaster has cost the country almost $50 billion in damages and loss of human life and livelihood. So just to give a little example, since 1959, Pakistan has contributed only 0.4% of the global greenhouse emissions compared with, rich countries which almost, have contributed over 40% of the global greenhouse gases. So, of course, we have to define the global warming is the increase of Earth's average surface temperature due to buildup of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So, in the last 100 years, the temperature has increased by 1 degree centigrade. What we are doing is the climate change, which is a broader term to describe the long-term changes in climate, including average temperature, rainfall, and humidity. This is the animation to show the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is very, very beneficial. And then this has been a stable thing in the Earth's climate for a long time. So the heat retained in the Earth's atmosphere keeps our planet at a comfortable average temperature of 17 degrees centigrade. If there were no greenhouse effect, it will be minus 40 degrees centigrade. So now this is the greenhouse gases that have been, introduced by the humans. So carbon dioxide from the fossil fuel used by the human is almost 57%. Other things like deforestation, decay of biomass, methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide from other sources, and fluorinated hydrocarbon gases do contribute. So here is an example how the greenhouse effect is in our daily life. If somebody has a car parked in a daytime during the sunlight, the heat will trapped in the car will not come out, and the car temperature is higher than the outside. So that is the simple greenhouse effect, just like the greenhouse where the farmers grow their greenhouse plants. So causes of climate change are very, very due to the human activity. They are driving the global warming since the mid 20th century. Pakistan has witnessed increasing number of intense rainfall events, one in 2010, one in 2014, and the number of record high temperatures events have been also throughout the last 50 years. These are the indicators of a warming world. Now Pakistan has almost 8,000 glaciers. It is also the third pole because these glaciers are in the Himalayas, Karakoram, and Hindu Kush. They contribute to the vast Indus River system, which feeds population of 220 million in Pakistan and almost 100 million in India and 50 million in Afghanistan. So here we see the floodplain, which have looks like the inundated the countryside and have destroyed the villages, farmers' field, and the infrastructure. So this is the animation from July 1st to the August 31st. And Pakistan looks like a sea after the floods. Now, this flood water did not, recede easily because the country, the Indus plain is vast, uh, flat, low sloping plain, and the water has still remained in many, many locations even today. Now, this is one of the example where the historical bridges and new bridges have been washed away by the flash floods from the Himalayas. Um, and again, we see this is the physiographic map. The flooding is so extensive, it can be seen from the space. So what we conclude that this cataclysmic flood is due to the climate change for this extreme climate and hydrological event in a fluvial floodplain of the Indus and its tributaries. So this is one example how the tributaries rivers have contributed to the this flash flood and destroy the livelihood of many thousands of people on the river banks. So this is a kind of a wake up call for the globe that these deadly floods are indication of the dangers of the climate change. So almost 40 million people have been affected, almost 8 million people have been rendered shelterless, and over 2 million livestock have drowned. And now almost 1,800 people have become victim of the flood, and the secondary effects are due to the public health issues. And again, remember, the research has connected the climate change and powerful monsoon to this flood that has engulfed Pakistan for the last 4 months. And again, we can see in the upper watershed, the rivers have overflowed and caused all the damages. So we will see some of the animation from the mountain to the sea, and then how the rising waters destroyed the livelihood, the farmland, and drowned the humans and animals. At places, the water rose to almost 10 meters in height, like a tsunami. And so here we can see the victims of the Pakistan flood who have been rendered shelterless. Most of the people who are affected or who have died are women and children. And so here we can see that the villagers or the farmers go through all of these terrible, inundation, and they have to be rescued and rehabilitated. Now the physiography of Pakistan is such that is Indus plain is a vast low-lying floodplain, and the water does not recede easily because it's a mature river, and so that is another issue, and then this has caused this climate carnage, and the villagers and the cities have been all flooded. So this one is showing the number of people who become the victim of the flood related deaths, and this is almost now reaching 1,800 people. So what we believe that today Pakistan is paying the price for actions of the other rich nations who have contributed to global warming, and this is a climate justice that these rich nations should pay for the consequence of climate disasters in less developing countries which are suffering from this extreme weather. So onus of helping Pakistan recover from this climate disaster should rest on the international community. And this is another example after the burst of a glacial lake. Pakistan has almost 300 glacial lakes, and 40 of them, burst it and cause all kind of, mini or large tsunamis. So this mountain fury has left, millions of people homeless and hungry, uh, and they lost everything, and they urgently need our help. So this is an example of the public health issue. Most of the victims of the flood are the children and the women, and so it has cut off the access to prenatal care, but also raised fears about the health of babies born in the harsh conditions. So here we see that mother is saying, my son is sick, I have to take care of my children and my grandchildren. And here again, we see a mother holding her child, saying that we don't have even the beds or cots to sleep. We are sitting here helpless. Of course, the government and the non-governmental organizations are, having these medical camps to, bring about, the health issues under control. And of course, these are the floods, and people struggle to survive in this flood ravaged regions from mountain to the sea. Now, there are, 2 million livestock that have been lost by the rising river waters and the flash flooding. And and of course, these farmers depend on livestock, buffaloes, cows, goats, and chickens to supplement their livelihood. This is again a situation report chart, and almost 5 million acres or 2 million hectares of crops have been affected. So Pakistan has witnessed for last 3 months, since July, 3 months of relentless rain. Before that, there was 4 months of very high temperature. So this is the thing that this is a climate justice issue. The government in Pakistan declared a national emergency in August, and it sought the help for the international support to deliver food and drinking water, tents, medical supplies, and to make the recovery and rehabilitation of the affected community. And the Secretary General of United Nations, he came to Pakistan in August. He linked Pakistani flood to the climate change. He urged the international community to deliver aid and said that the world is sleepwalking through Pakistan's disaster. So Pakistan deserves help or reparations for a catastrophic event caused by the rich nation. And Pakistan may not survive this century without rehabilitation and recovery, and this has to be a part of climate justice. So climate justice is not limited to the country like Pakistan, to many other countries in Africa, South America, Central America, Asia, and the Pacific Island nations. And the compensation for these disasters should be done from the $100 billion pledged by the rich nation in 2018 and 2021. Now, next month, there will be another United Nations Climate Summit, COP27, and this conference should clear the pathway to help Pakistan and other nations. As the cost of climate change rises, United Nations General Assembly has urged the compensation. So what we see today is the double standards in geopolitics and international arena, and this should be avoided. And Pakistan is facing harrowing condition, and actually it is going through an economic meltdown. So global warming has caused this, monsoon to be on steroids, as the United Nations Secretary General has stated. Of course, as we understand, when flood happens, it's the poor that are most impacted. They suffer primary, secondary, and tertiary risk for food insecurity and health issues. So in Pakistan, there are almost 8 million environmental refugees. They have to be rehabilitated. So here we see an example of a family trying to gather whatever salvage from their flooded home. And of course, as we see, the whole Indus basin is flooded, and this disaster has caused almost 3 million houses or huts to be destroyed. And these are some of the examples from mountain to the sea that the climate-induced disaster has brought. So again, we see some of the pictorials, infographic depiction, how people are coping under these harsh conditions with submerged cities, submerged farmland, and submerged villages. So again, as we remember that about 50 million people are affected. And this is the environmental refugee. UNICEF also has said that in about 3 million Pakistani children are at risk due to malnutrition. And of course, children are vulnerable because they are more susceptible to the waterborne diseases, cholera, malaria, diarrhea, and malnutrition. So this is the responsibility of the international community to help these people who need, all of this assistance. So what UNICEF has stated, people need actually shelter, they need food, they need water, they need medical help, and they need to be resettled and make their life, meaningful again. And of course, as we see the example from the space satellite, that the Indus Valley has become a sea of water after the flood. And of course, there is nothing funny about climate change or climate-induced disaster brought about. Exactly where are we hurtling toward the climate Armageddon? And here are the examples we can see in Pakistan. Of course, relief efforts are there, and the communities all over the world need to help, the Pakistan to, recover. And here we can see the poorest people have been hit the hardest. The water rose here in this village almost 10 meters or almost 33 feet. And so this is the plight, and this water is not receding easily. So of course we can see the people have to be, housed in tents, and they, just, live by whatever is provided to them. And again, remember, Pakistan will see more of the, problem to recover from this disaster. Hopefully the world will not forget about them until another monsoon. So here is the appeal to help the flood victims overcome this disasters and its impacts. So Pakistan needs the relief, and there is a donation appeal. And whatever the Secretary General has stated, that today it is Pakistan, tomorrow it could be your country. Wherever you live, this is a global crisis. It demands a global response. So again, the world needs to help out the poor people in Pakistan recover. And so this is the Pakistan Prime Minister Flood Relief Fund. You may go online and donate it. And here again, we have other, efforts by the NGOs, the AD Foundation in Pakistan, World Food Program in USA, Red Cross, and, many other, programs that are trying to bring about, the assistance. So this thing is very important, uh, that we are, try to recover the people from their, misery and make them rehabilitate. So here we will see a little, video of the how the flash floods have destroyed the infrastructure. So this is a dramatic moment. A historical bridge in northern Pakistan collapsed, leaving the people stranded. And so these are, due to the melting of the glacier, due to the heat wave, and then the flash flood caused in the surrounding area. So here we see the river Sawat in the northern Pakistan, and these people now do not have clean water in Hunza, Gilgit, and northern Pakistan. Here we can see that the melting glacier have created these multiple glacial lakes, and again some of these may burst again. And of course, along with that, we have landslide, mudslides, and rockfall. So thank you for for watching this video, and we request you to help Pakistan come out of this misery. Mahalo, thank you, domo arigato, meharbani.